When Jaguar Wright started talking about the new Diddy documentary, she made it clear right away that almost nothing in it was new to her. She's been around the story for years, watching things unfold from the background, and for the most part, she knew what would be in it and what wouldn't. But there was one moment that really caught her attention. And honestly, it shocked a lot of people who watched the doc. For the first time ever, Kirk Burrow came out and said out loud that he had been abused by Diddy. That Kirk Burrow was saying at the end of episode 4 when he first, dropped the bomb that he had been SA'd by Diddy. It's Kirk Burrow. Yes. Who has been here since the beginning. That time I didn't think nothing of it that he was spending a night with Kirk Burrow. Either every Wednesday night. He got a whole girl at home, but he's spending a night with Kirk Burrow. He's staying at Kirk's house. Like, yo, all right, cool. Didn't think nothing of it. Didn't think nothing of it. And then Kirk had made a mention to some people over the years that him and Puff used to wake up and pray together. And I'm in my mind I know he's talking about saying prayers and all that stuff like that, but in my other mind I'm thinking some you waking up with a dude praying. What's going on? Then there was a situation that somebody said long time ago in the office. They caught Kirk giving Puff oral in the office. And curiously enough, even Gene Deal, who has seen Diddy do the worst of the worst when it comes to crimes, was shocked and speechless when he found out what Diddy had done to Kirk. He's showing the world now. He telling the world now he was forced to do this. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out why he didn't come out sooner. He also alleged that Diddy, forced him to give him jobs. Oh my God. So you telling me that in the lawsuit and that he forced him to sing in the mic and it wasn't in the studio? Yeah. Yeah. That's what he claiming. Yo, bro, it's crazy. It's real crazy that Kirk is alleging all these things that people always said back then. I remember when me and you had a conversation about this years ago and you asked me was I going to talk about it. I said, no, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to let him talk about it. I didn't know he was going to do this lawsuit and put this stuff in there. But I told you years ago that I'm not going to talk about it until he talks about it. Now, the reason why Kirk's revelations may be the biggest ones yet is because he saw things happen internally more than 30 years ago. He was close to Diddy during the most formative years of his life. He knows Diddy inside out. So, to Jaguar, Kirk is confirming what people have been talking about behind closed doors this whole time. He said, people keep pretending like all of this stuff that they hear about Diddy is something that's new. He's been doing these things. Ben, he's a witness to offenses that happened over 30 years ago. Jaguar also pointed out some really interesting things that didn't make it into the documentary in their entirety, especially when it came to Diddy's childhood and upbringing. She thinks he told a lot of lies to keep his image early on squeaky clean in the documentary. They said he didn't smoke and he didn't drink. But throughout all the Biggie's promo, every time you saw him, he had a bottle of champagne. They was drinking mode all of the time, So, I guess they don't consider cases of champagne and everybody having their own bottle and drinking out of their own bottle. Like, it was a 40 ounces. I guess they don't consider that drinking. But, I digress. There was a part where he was going back and forth with Andre Harrell and he was saying, I may be drunk and high by Wednesday. I don't know. So, I'm like, it seemed like the shift happened quickly when it comes to being introduced into this thing, into this industry. So, he might be a victim as well. Jaguar also went on to say she had always believed Diddy was also a victim at some point in his life, maybe even during childhood, especially due to the extremely depraved and neglectful lifestyles of his parents. I believe that he was victimized and I think it happened long before the industry. People really don't want to look closer into his childhood and to what his mama had going on in that house. God knows what he saw and what happened to him in his own mama house. All of those strangers, them up involved, looking around seeing what was going on. And let's just be clear, it sounds like her house was a house of, professional freak-offs. So, who knows what he saw or what could have happened to him while she was busy entertaining people and pouring and getting tips, as she would say, for her after-hour life. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was surprised to hear that school bus. No. Was he surprised or was he like, zipping, you talking too much? 'Cause that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you talking a little bit too much. They don't need to know about that. While she was sitting up there, oh yeah, 'cause I was a bus driver and I was this and I worked at the after hours and I would pour them drinks and they would give me big tips. She said just like that, big tips, you know, in big tips and spend and cheese. Damn. In Sean's own words, in Diddy's own words, he had said he had a sigh of relief learning that he was the son of a hustler or a gangster. Like he wanted that status. He wanted to say that he was like a sigh of relief is a wild thing to say that your daddy was a gangster or a hustler that's why. You heard that he was. Well, I mean like Tim said they had a bunch of black exploitation movies being played around the house all the time. They grew up with the Mac playing. They grew up with Superfly playing. Like I mean, if that's what you got going on, you got 2 women in the house and there's no men around. And these are what the little boys are watching. You got basketball players coming over late at night. You got hustlers coming over. Pimps coming over. Women who look like they were modeling for Jet magazine coming over. Like it sounds like the nature of the environment is what shaped their perception of what cool was. So yeah, I mean I'm sure for him it was, oh man, that's who my dad was. Diddy's father, the same man he looked up to, ended up being a hustler who got caught up, became an informant, and was in a brutal way. Jaguar said that kind of family history mixed with the environment, the movies, and the pressure to be someone powerful all helped shape the person Diddy eventually became. He started to believe he was above the law, and that is completely validated by the behavior that Jaguar points out. She especially highlights that the documentary shows something huge that most people completely missed. Diddy was trying to shape the minds of potential jurors long before he was even arrested. It starts with the weirdest part of the whole documentary. Diddy was recording everything. Everything from the moment federal agents showed up near his hotel room. He wasn't scared. He wasn't hiding. He was literally filming them back. The fact that you know that they have this footage and however they got it, the fact that it exists is like Diddy, why would you even start recording this? Like why would you even give us this leverage to even put this thing out? Please give us some tips. Well, yeah, I wouldn't call it leverage, but go ahead. Well, the whole point of him filming this whole thing was because I'm sure that he planned on doing his own documentary. This is an extreme narcissist you're talking about. He's sitting there with feds and I shot away from his hotel suite filming his hotel room and he's looking at them and he's filming them right back. He's literally saying in certain parts, yeah. Make sure you're filming all of this because we need to get some, some cutaway shots. That's why. That's why. No, he was literally did nobody pay attention to that? Oh, I thought I saw like he said, yeah. Make sure you're filming all of this. We need this for cutaways like you're sitting here collecting footage like a director like an ad. Jaguar says this wasn't some random choice. In her view, this was classic Diddy, an extreme narcissist who thought he could control the entire story. She believes he planned to make his own documentary about the situation, turning himself into the hero of his own movie. But what shocked her most wasn't Diddy filming. It was what he and his lawyer said while the cameras rolled. But when you've got a lawyer like Mark Agnifilo who is orchestrating your possible surrender because as you heard him say in the beginning of the documentary he was very clear it's almost the middle of September and there's no indictment. As you heard Diddy say, I've been an exemplary client like you've asked. You said, I've been an excellent client. I came here. I did everything you asked me to do. MHM. That's what they're literally having this conversation. Yeah. In that conversation, Diddy was worried about the outlook of the public versus the victim. The outlook of the public. Oh, he was worried a lot more than that. You don't think he literally sat there and said, we need comms. He's sitting there talking like an evil dictator. We need comms. We need a way into this conversation. We're losing. He said, we're losing. Losing what? What are you? Losing. But the key words that he said that were so important were, we need to be able to be speaking to the potential jurors. So, in essence, Diddy wanted to control the narrative before anything had officially even happened. Jaguar points out how dangerous that is. If someone with that much money and power tries to shape public opinion before a trial even exists, how can regular people get justice? He said, you might only be the guy that watches CNN, but there's 9 billion people in the world and 7 billion of them are on Instagram or TikTok. We need to have control of that. He said, we need to know how these potential jurors are thinking. That's what he said. So, what does that mean? He hadn't even been arrested yet. He hadn't even been taken into custody yet. Damian Williams hadn't come forward yet with a list of the charges that they were charging him with and what they were taking him to trial for. That didn't happen until December. So once again, they were losing. Losing what? Losing at what? We need to have control of comms. We need to make sure that we know how the potential jurors are thinking. Very true. How does that not sound like anything other than what it is? They were looking to infect the jury pool as early as possible. They were hoping to infect the jury pool to see a lawyer sitting on the phone having a conversation with a man who was about to be charged with some of the most heinous acts known in recent history. She says you can't go to the boss because the boss might be the one hurting you. You can't go to the police if they're paid off. And even if you get a strong prosecutor, they can suddenly be reassigned. Meanwhile, powerful people move behind the scenes however they want. She then pointed out how similar the stampede Diddy caused at a college basketball game in 1991 was to the tragedy at Travis Scott's Astro World. She said people should be careful around anybody who works this hard to evade responsibility and financial liability. Gene Deal has also previously talked about the tragedy and how horrific it was on several occasions. Here is his recollection of events, and the part that will stand out to you most here is how apathetic Diddy and his closest friends were to the people who were dying as a result of the chaos they had created. I did a walk around. So, I walked around to the top of the floor, went down the steps and went in the gym and then came across the gym and I seen that you can go up the steps and be right there at the front door. So, everybody was coming in. You seen Dougie Fresh, Red Alert, they was on the mic. People start coming in and everything. It was cool. And then when LL Cool J and Mike Tyson showed up, that stuff must have went pandemonium. They must have broke through the first doors where the FOI was and came to the door where we was inside at. And it was a glass door that they were crowded at in the glass door and people were steady pushing the people through the door. Whereas that they pushed the people so hard that the glass broke and people fell through the glass doors at the top of the stairs. And when people fell through the door the top of the stairs we grabbed this girl, she was pregnant. We later found out that was Father MC's baby's mother and she died that day with her baby inside her and you could see that she was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? She had to be like 6 or 7 months pregnant. So we grabbed her and helped her up and then she ended up going downstairs when we had got her out the way. So they got trapped down the stairs after they broke through the first glass. They got trapped downstairs through the second door because Jessica had got scared. That was Puffy partner at the time, Jessica Rosenberg. She got scared, ran downstairs with the money box and shut the door or behind her and all those people got shut down in there and got trapped. Right. 9 people died that day. 29 others were injured. And I guess a nice and smooth bodyguard were what was one of the people that got my men. Let me tell you something. That dude was about 6 feet 4 inches. He had a white t-shirt on, I think, with khaki pants. I was over there trying to resuscitate him, and I was like, this is crazy. Jaguar explained how nobody really faced serious consequences for that City College incident. Instead, Diddy protected his money early by putting Bad Boy in his mother's name so they could never seize those assets. She said it was a strategy to avoid getting hit with lawsuits later. Him putting his business in his mother's name and the U.S. attorneys trying to go after Rico that he used his business as an enterprise to do these deviant things. Yeah. Technically, if he's just getting, let's say, a small payments from his mom, he's not technically using the business. Do you think that they barked up the wrong tree to even lose his trial based on him saying that, hey, I'm not even the owner of Bad Boy. I'm just let's say, an employee who just gets payments to do little small things. Shouldn't they have realized that or noticed all right, we can't trace the money back to the owner of Bad Boy? Well, see that's the thing. That was for Kirk Burroughs' case. What about now? 'Cause Combs Enterprise, all of it is not owned by Janice Combs. Ahoo. His name is on stuff. A lot of stuff like a lot of these things that happened. It's not like back then it was Bad Boy Combs Enterprise. There's a bunch of different stuff that falls up underneath that umbrella. And it ain't all in Janice. It's not all in Janice's name. It's not. Good portion of it is, but not all. Like they people have to be weary about anybody who goes through this much trouble to evade responsibility and financial liability. Because even if it's not all in his name, even if it isn't all him, even if it were all in his mother's name, then that would mean that his mother is the one that's running the criminal organization and she's been aiding and abetting his very sick behavior for decades. It sounds like they should have made sure that she was added to everything. That's the case because if he's just an employee and he's just being paid for his services, then that means that all of this stuff was going on up underneath her nose and there's no way she didn't know about it. She was involved and present for too much of it. Then she brought up the government and how the feds don't miss things this big. She compared it to Al Capone, how the government knew he was dirty but didn't charge him directly for everything so they wouldn't expose their own corruption. Instead, they hit him with tax charges. She said that sometimes big stories get cleaned up to protect powerful people. Now, two of those big names are Jay-Z and Clive Davis, two major figures who have long been known to have worked with Diddy and aided his criminal empire. Yet, they aren't mentioned in the documentary. Why? Jay-Z wasn't mentioned at all in any of this documentary. He was there for so much of it because right after the diddler beat the crap out of Steve Stout, the stuffman poked up on Rivera not long after that. All of this stuff happened around the same time. Why do you think Jay-Z wasn't involved in none of this? Well, I mean, he was involved in a lot of it. You mean why wasn't he mentioned? Yeah. Mentioned in the documentary at all? I mean, there was a lot of people that weren't mentioned. Matter of fact, not too many people in the industry were mentioned who were there and present. Ain't that cute? Very true. They found a way to tell that story while they kept everybody else clean. So talked about parts of history the documentary barely touched, like the real reason the East Coast versus West Coast beef sparked, which she said was really a fight between Diddy and Suge, not the whole coasts. She also said they didn't go deep enough into Diddy's ties with Zip and the Crips or the murder of Tupac. And speaking of the Tupac, there has been a huge development in the case. The main suspect in the case, Keefe D., has asked Diddy to show him some love publicly after claiming he helped Diddy get rid of Pac. Sean, you had an issue with the way Diddy was treating him. Right. I just think Puff, he needs to be a stand-up man. That dude had up there and did that time for you or nothing like that. Then you got this man living down there in police. They went off bad, man. You seem like you just leave people for dead, man. Stuff wrong, dude. Gene Deal complaining about you. I'm complaining about you. You ain't. I heard of one of my homies from 30s. I heard he get every quarter he get clothes all this stuff then you gave this other dude's a brand new Benzo or may another piece of the record company. Goddamn homie. I was on top of the world till I met your mother-ass dude. Stuff is wrong dude. Come on homie. I need something. Throw a dog a bone or something. Stuff sit up there talking about you a daddy love. Show us some love, man. You know what I'm saying. Just ways around that, homie. Throw my kids something. Throw somebody kids something. Goddamn. Daddy love. You ain't no love. That ain't love at all. That's some bull. That ain't cool, dude. You know what I'm saying. Swear, man. Gene Deal, Shine, GPD, just everything body, man. Goddamn. You just leave bad tastes in everybody's mouth, man. Come on homie. Damn. You forgot where you come from. You know what I'm saying. I know. I'm like some grass and stuff I was in jail. Throw a noodle. What you call that stuff she put the hot water on, man. Goddamn. Life ain't been the same, bro man, I was getting 300 kilos a month, man. Balling, man. Did nobody know about me? My stuff was smooth, dude. Stuff was laid out smooth, man. I met your mother and all the heat and thunder come around with your mother, man. And there were some more major revelations made in the documentary that have gone a little under the radar since. One major example is the Aubrey O'Day allegations. Her comments in the new documentary had already stirred things up. And let me tell you right now, Gene didn't hold back when he shared what he remembered about her comments. He said it. "I'ma drug them out and pimp them out to my neck. They keep with me." And he was talking about Donity Kane as a group. He didn't single out any one of them. But to hear that he did it, that stuff is crazy to me. We had a big argument and we started talking about each other and what stuff had and what he didn't have. He was calling, "Yo, you broke cop. This like, nigga, you ain't got nothing. I got a watch. You got a watch. I got a ring. You got a ring. I got a chain. I got a home." We went through that whole sit like that. I start talking about his teeth. You understand? And I start talking about, him, his breath, everything. We was going at each other. That next day at his house, he said, "Yo, Gene," he called me upstairs and, he said, "Yo, Gene, I couldn't talk to him like that no more in front of people and everything like that 'cause I know me and Puff go back from the same gang since 89, 90 when he got jumped in it, you understand? We go back way to that time. So, I knew him, you understand? And he was like a little nephew. So when he started talking that stuff to me, I said, "Yo, listen here, bro. You don't say stuff about me, I won't say stuff about you. If you say something, you open up your mouth about me, I'ma talk about all your green dentures and all that stuff like that. We not playing them games, bro. Marty, do you understand what I'm saying?" I heard him say that he was going to drug them out and pimp them out to his N and then to hear the text message that she was drugged out and he was having sex. That stuff hurts, bro. That stuff is messed up. Do you know how messed up that is, bro? I heard this stuff say this stuff out of his mouth. But to know that he was doing it, that stuff was crazy to me. It makes you feel sick, bro. Because I guess I wasn't looking for it. But to see her pain and to see that she had to experience some stuff like that, bro. And then the stuff was doing a lot of that stuff right under your nose when the days that you wasn't working or the days that you left early or you wasn't around. This stuff is crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. Because he know I wasn't that type of dude. You understand? And he tries everybody. He tries everybody. I'm not saying he never tried me. He tried me before. And now seeing people come forward with what they say happened, Gene said the whole thing just made him feel sick. He can't be the only one. The allegations coming out against Diddy are nothing short of disgusting, deplorable on a bare minimum human level. If they're true, this is the end of Diddy as we know him. What do you guys think about the whole situation? Let us know in the comments below.